Good evening. Welcome to Winthrop Votes. Todd Sacco and producer Scotty McLean. How we doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good. How about you?
Well, I'm a little concerned. I don't know if it's my headset or if there was just some cutting out while we were waiting for the band to stop playing.
I don't know.
We'll see how it goes.
Test 1, 2, 3.
Check.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
That's the beauty of live stream.
Yes.
You know, I did my and we'll wait for people to come into the live stream, but so I last Wednesday I do my podcast, but I live stream it and then I take the audio from the live stream and it turns into my podcast, which is a music podcast, no politics. It's called Milk Crates and Turntables. I usually do it with my friend Jack Calabrese, and he's an insurance executive, so he travels a bit during the summer, and so I did it with these other guys from another podcast, and I get with them the night before Tuesday night, and there was 3 of them, and I'm like, okay, this is how to get the microphones, get the cameras, get everything ready, and everyone got on board. Everybody got got technically sound, and I said I would be amazed if tomorrow when we start to go live that this is all working. I don't know what it is about live streaming. And of course, one of the guys' mic doesn't work all of a sudden, and they didn't touch anything. So I'm not surprised you might be hearing, because you never know how this goes.
Well, yeah, we'll see. On my way home from a quick run to the convenience store, I bumped into Coach DeFelice. Yeah. He's saying, "Oh God, what you guys are doing is great. I think it's great for the community, putting that kind of effort forth." I said to him, I go, "Well, I'm getting a ton of good feedback about it too. I mean, a lot of people. We got almost 400 views of it at this point, and counting."
So we're on episode 44.
Yeah.
And they didn't think we'd make it past 5.
No one's watching.
What are your demographics? What are your numbers? It's like we've only done 5 episodes.
Well, here's the other thing, though.
Well, let me interrupt you. The real thing is we're relentless and we're not going to stop.
Well,
go on. I'm sorry.
We're talking to ourselves. We don't care. I'm still talking. No, but I was going to say that. So I was looking at some of the other groups that are kind of private or require membership, and they have much bigger numbers. I mean, Winthrop Nice Discussion, this and that. And I'm wondering if I'm probably kidding myself, but if we made it a private, would we suddenly get more numbers? Or am I kidding myself? And people just don't want to be associated.
Well, I think there's a lot of, just like anything on social media, there's a lot of lurkers that just go in and look. Listen, I was talking to somebody who lives in Michigan now, and they're from Winthrop, and they watch the show. So it's not just local; it's people that grew up in Winthrop that have caught on. Either friends of mine or friends. Your friend was watching from the Bahamas or something 2 weeks ago.
He lives in Florida. He was at the Bahamas on vacation or something like that. Yeah, that's.
What are you doing in the Bahamas on a Monday night at 8:00? You watch Winthrop Votes live stream.
Is it that good? I don't know.
Yet. I think we do well, my friend. I think we do well.
Well, I'm hoping.
But we don't want to get too overconfident.
So did you see, I did post for the people as they're starting to stream in. We're experimenting as usual, trying to bring more content and more in-person stuff here. I'm on the Friday before 4th of July, for anybody who's still in Winthrop, from 3 to 6 p.m. We're finalizing the permitting for a 4th of July flag party. No need to bring a flag, but if you want to be in the contest for best flag and win a prize, we're working on getting some donations from local businesses. We're trying to turn this thing into kind of a community event / fundraiser in the long term.
Yeah.
So this short notice of it is probably going to be a bit problematic, but if we get 10, 15 people to show up, it'll be worth it. We'll have music too.
It's a start. And again, if we turn it into a fundraiser, I won't be there. I'll be in St. Augustine on the 4th of July, which is my go-to now. Yeah, I mean, hey, everything has to start small, but if it's a charity fundraiser and it stays in the community, gets donated to something in the community, I don't think you can lose that way, man. You know?
Yeah, I tend to agree.
Yeah.
I think we owe, by the way, again, before we get to the meat of things, I meant to mention this to you offline. I think we owe everybody a bit of an update. I've spoken offline to someone from the Commission for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, and essentially the whole Barbara Flockhart thing has been basically dropped. The recommendation is going to be for training, but just to keep the viewers and the listeners and the whoever's up to speed. You saw it in real time. We had discrimination, racism. I don't know whatever you want to call it.
A comment. Yeah.
Yeah. And we
It
had
was almost a discriminatory comment, I think.
And we had a commission that I said was not going to be of any use. And I was hoping that this time it would be different. And I wasn't wrong.
Look, we might have come across at first. We're not going to agree with everything that commission does or says, right? But we don't hate them.
Not even a little.
You know? It's just, of course, there's going to be issues that we will not agree on. But in the end, they're doing what they think is the right thing to do. And that's a good thing. I'm sure they're all nice people. But they acted, right?
Yep. They acted. They took action.
All right.
Can't say they didn't. So before we get into the meat of the evening, Scott, is there anything that you had on your mind that you wanted to kick around?
There's a party Saturday night at the Elks.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
What about that thing?
Yeah, there's a big party, actually.
How are ticket sales going? They going good?
Ticket sales are good. Sales are good. There's always a good walk-up crowd.
Yep.
Yeah. This is our I think, 5th one that we did. 5th town party. They've all been good. They've all been fun. But this is the last one. This is the last hurrah.
Have you said this before?
We did. Well, actually, we were supposed to do this before COVID. Right as COVID was kicking off, it was an interesting discussion between myself, Bob Gillis, and Jack Calabrese. We were really back and forth to should we do this. It was usually in March we did it. And it was, yes, let's go with it. No, we were getting a lot of pressure from people that just do it. And in the end, we chose to be safe about it, and we didn't. And thank God we didn't.
Right.
Because that thing possibly would have been a super spreader, as they called it. So that was going to be the last one. So we had to wait 2 years. And this is the last one. We put some time. We put our own time into it. And we do it. We don't make any money. We don't make any money. We end up donating what we have left over to, we never say who, but it goes through the Elks. The Elks, we give them, and then they write the checks. So it's because, and they didn't sponsor it, but they hosted the function, and it helps them.
That's right.
And it helps whoever the people that get helped. But we don't make any money off it. So if you want to come down Saturday night to the Elks, there's a DJ. We might have a lot of pizza. I don't know. But it's fun. I mean, bring your friends. We don't have to know everybody that's there. If there's 4 or 5 you want to come down and dance and have a drink and maybe run into some old friends, that's what it's for. There's no other reason for it but for people in Winthrop to get together and just have fun. It's from 7 to 11.
Sure to be a great time. A great time.
Yeah. And we won't be doing it anymore. So get your time in this Saturday.
This is tutti frutti. Tutti frutti. So, will you go ahead before I cut you?
No, I was going to jump in and say, so what do you have as far as the school and the teachers and the budget?
So first, and I'm going to do it this way just because it's easier. So first, just for your this is so outside of the budget for now. So outside of the budget for now, we have issues with how do I phrase this? It's not okay. So the whole issue with don't talk to a child about their gender, sexual preferences, blah, 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 right?
Right.
So in the middle school, I came across, well, it was sent to me actually. I'm going to show it up here. This photo was sent to me, right? Now, this is hanging in the middle school. There are words on there like demisexual, this sexual, that sexual. Okay. Look, the whole allies thing, again, I'm going to take a quick step back. This is happening at the state level. This is, from what I'm learning, I'm getting more information. We may have no choice here as a district because this is part of DESE's DESE, the Department of Elementary Secondary Education, equity, fairness, all this other stuff. The fact of the matter is, a child, more than one, but I can only confirm one, went home, a sixth grader went home and asked their parents what a pansexual was. Now, you know, on its face, this, that, the other thing, it doesn't seem like a big deal, but why should any parent have to have that conversation? And why would those words be being used in a school? If you want to have allies, okay, but just have it be a friend program and make it for everybody, candidly, because, you know, there were over 24 kids, from my understanding, over 24 kids, but let's just say more than there should have been that were institutionalized after COVID. They're from all walks of life. Why don't they have allies too? If the purpose of the ally is to help with the mental health and the depression and the bullying part of it, shouldn't we provide for everybody too?
It's not, but that's not the reason. You know the reason.
I know exactly right. I know exactly the reason.
Just a brilliant disguise.
Right. It is a brilliant point being. So there is some stuff still going on in the school, but that's not the focus tonight. We'll get more on that. The focus tonight is actually, so we're going to talk a lot about the budget, not the budget, excuse me, the negotiations tonight. And we'll make up numbers just to make the point. It'll all seem clear. But before I get into what I've learned, I want to kind of I want to maybe level set, Scott, and ask your opinion on something. And maybe some folks that are watching will chime in, I hope. You know, type, call, whatever you want. When we think about our schools in our communities, the first question I ask, who should have the power, the decision making in a community, in a school, in a community? Who should be involved?
Well, it would be parents.
Okay. And so you would think, and so the argument's made that their school committees are their representatives through that, right? But unfortunately, the deck is stacked because you have a situation where, this is where it gets a little crazy. You have a situation where you would think is normal, but it's not, because it's school. Keep in mind, it's school. You have two people or two entities on each side of the bargaining table, right? One's bargaining for the benefit of the teachers. One's supposed to be bargaining for the benefit of the students. At least, well, that's what's happening. In my view, and I'll ask your opinion on this too. In my view, I think in a school situation, in a public school situation, the reality is, and by the way, we're told this is used as a cudgel over the heads of the school committee that it's not about the money. It's not about the money. That's a cudgel over, like the negotiators beat the school committee over the head with this. It's not about the money. It's about respect. The two entities should be negotiating for everybody, for the benefit of the whole district. But every single, and how do you measure that, right? Because every single time, every bit of new money that the schools get from tax overrides or tax increases, new receipts, other receipts, grant money, 90+% of it goes to salaries and benefits. There's no new programs coming. You heard, I think was it Suzanne Leonard that said she wanted to bring more music back. And then we had talks about, having Spanish go through 6 all the way through 12 without a break or something like that. Does that ring a bell to you?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
Those things aren't going to happen.
No,
they're not going to happen. The other part of this is that riddle me this question. If the teachers union rep, because we have so let me tell you what got my dander up a bit here. And I'm going to try to see if I can share this appropriately. Yeah, we're going to do it just like this. Hold on. Just give me a little second here. Okay. Okay. So can you pull that? Can you pull that up? Can you? Okay. And let me know if you can see this little blurb.
I'm always interested in learning about how to build rank and file and win. This seems like a great space to listen, learn, and share knowledge about troublemaking and organizing.
So this is the Harvard Trade Union Program workshops. I mean, obviously Harvard's in on the gig. I'm going to try to build the case again this evening about really what is happening to the country, candidly, because of the teachers union. Okay. And a lot of people are going to be angry. A lot of people are going to be calling me crazy and thinking that this is some kind of wild conspiracy theory. It's not a conspiracy theory. It doesn't.
So let me stop you there.
They don't have to all work together and talk.
Who is Kevin Tierney, organizer, field service organization, Mass Teachers Association?
That's right. And that's a great question. I'm really glad you asked that. This guy's background, everywhere you look, tell me if the screen changes. No?
No.
Okay. Everywhere you look in this guy's background, LinkedIn profile, his MTA staff member, his title is regional organizer, field and organizing division. I mean, he is a hired gun. His LinkedIn, nothing about his background is about his teaching and what he wants to happen in education. It's about troublemaking and organizing. That is what this man is. He's come to Winthrop to negotiate because Kristen Reynolds doesn't negotiate strongly enough for the teachers union. So let me calm myself down a little bit here because I'm woohoo getting off the deep end, but I could go on. I mean, I put his profile out on the group page. He was involved in the teachers union negotiations in Tewksbury, Danvers. He was meddling, and a good friend of mine that shall remain nameless in the political world was saying to me, "Look, that's their job." And I thought up to myself, "You're right. That is their job. This guy wants to climb the organizing union's ladder on the backs of teachers." Okay. He wants to be a Randy Weingarten. If you don't know who she is, it's RandyWeingarten. She's the president of the NEA. She was one of the people behind the teachers unions influencing the CDC to keep kids locked out of school and masked for what we now know is absolutely no reason for it. And oh, by the way, little off the track here. Now Pfizer's the FDA has approved for under 5 kids to get vaccinated. And we're going to start hearing pushing when there is literally, they were like, I hate this. I don't want to sound callous. 400 or something kids that died from COVID. They say COVID. I don't even trust the data, by the way.
No, the data's
so this guy's role, that's all he wants to do. You can read it for yourself in his background. He is not about improving the lives of children. He is about trying to convince the union members that their lives are being improved. What are they going to get? If you get 2%, on $50,000, what are you getting? $2,000, 2,500. What's the math over a year? It's pittance.
And how much is the union? And it's their money. Their dues.
Yeah.
How much are they paying this guy to come in and negotiate for them? Because he ain't free.
No, it comes
It ain't
out of
free.
it. And that's the other thing. Do the teachers realize you don't have to pay dues anymore and you'll still get the same protections? They
Well,
can't deny
I
you.
was a union steward for 18 years. I'm sorry to interrupt,
Yeah, go
but
ahead. No, please.
we represented officers that weren't union members, but we would only take it so far. If it got a little deeper, then it was like, listen, if you want me to go any further with this, you have to join. I never really liked that. I understood it, but I never really liked it. It's their choice. And there was times where I helped them on the side. If they really didn't want to join, I wasn't that much of a union, bat swinger. But they'll only help you so much if you're not a union member, And then and then there's the anti-union snubbers. Oh, you're a scab, or you're not even in the union. You don't have anything to say.
Right.
Is that? And listen, we've already found out that those teachers can be as catty and immature as a high school student. We've already learned that.
That's true.
So they're doing it to each other.
That's true.
And I was told that by more than a few teachers that contacted me.
That brings up a great point, Scott. Like, again, so this is where people are going to get upset with me. But I'm sorry. The truth, if it's harsh or not, whatever you want to call it, I don't think it's anything but is, right? The MTA and the NEA and the other federal union, they prey upon the nicest people in our, let's face it, people who want to be teachers in general, in my experience, I'm hoping in most people's experience, are givers, are super nice. And oftentimes, I don't know if naive's the right word, but certainly not, the business acumen end of things is definitely not there. And it's easy to use scare tactics to trick them into following you. And that's what these teachers unions are doing. Because the reality is this, Scott, the only time you're going to really, really need a lawyer in teaching anyway, or any job, I think, in my opinion, I don't want to speak for law enforcement because there's a bit of a nuance there because you're kind of enforcing law. It's very different. But if you do something wrong, it's so rare when you're wrongly accused, right? And by the way, you can get legal help pro bono. It's what do they call it? Contingency. They only get paid if you win. So there is support out there, but that's just a whole nother issue that I don't want to spend a lot of time on. What I'm getting at here is these guys prey on these teachers. I mean, think about it. They can't negotiate for themselves.
Well, you have to have a representative because you can't have 39 teachers coming in and negotiating at the same time.
No, I agree. Kristen Reynolds is the local president. Why isn't her team doing the negotiating? Why are they bringing? I mean, I know why they're bringing them in.
And who are they negotiating against?
The school committee.
They're negotiating against the school committee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who pretty much.
Well, the subset for now. Right now, it's a threesome. I believe it's Leonard, Suzanne Leonard, Jen Powell, and Lane Petrie, I believe, is a third.
And they're the ones that are negotiating?
Yes. And for the record, by the way, the best part of all this is when it's all over, I'm going to FOIA for all of the executive session minutes and all the offers back and forth. Because one thing I'm told, okay? One thing I'm told, and I can't get perfectly straight answers on it, but the original ask, the total amount, so the salary increase percentage plus extended time off. I mean, everybody, can we be adults? Can we bring the adults in the room for a second? Okay. And let's have an honest conversation. Okay. Why do fathers who teach need more parental time off when they have the summer off? Plus plenty of time off as it is. Like they get plenty of sick time that they can carry and accrue, which we'll get into that nightmare.
And holidays.
And holidays. Like if you're a teacher that's been in the business for a few years, you've probably accrued 3 weeks of your own sick time that you've been able to carry over. There's 3 weeks there. You get what the law requires for your parental leave, and then you can cruise right into summer. You want more time off. And so everything they're asking for is about less work, more pay, and it totals about 15 or 18% over 3 years. So by the way, it compounds. So the first year, let's just say it's 666 for the sake of argument. The first year, it's actually 6%. The next year it's bigger than 6% because it's 6% on a larger number, and so forth and so on. And it goes on in perpetuity.
Isn't there let me be the devil's advocate here.
Okay.
Isn't there a large number or a large percentage of people who would like to get paid for doing nothing? Now, it might not be you. It might not be some of the people watching, but there's a lot of people that go to work and they just try to find a way to get paid and do the least amount of work possible.
Yes.
Right? So, that becomes an ethical thing, right? Or a professional thing.
But we shouldn't agree to it as a school committee. And we'll get to that part.
Right. And so far they have, right?
No, they
Not
are.
yet.
We could be going to arbitration, which we'll get to that.
So the ask is always larger than the result.
Okay, let's stop there for a second. That's a good point. Why? And
Well,
how
I mean,
much?
I'll tell you why, because lawsuits have proven for decades and decades and decades, ask for $1 million, but you're only going to get 100,000.
Okay.
So you put out there, and it's basically, you're just throwing it out there, and hey, maybe a hook.
Okay.
Maybe you hook something and you get something you didn't expect to get.
Caveat for you, because remember, we're talking about teaching now. The mission is always the kids. It's you're not getting rich.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. You're right.
So fine. Okay. Ask higher. How much higher is appropriate to ask when you could easily look up the last 10 contracts and see that the average percentage was probably 1.8%.
So maybe that's why they brought this guy in, because they don't know how to negotiate hard. They don't know how to really play hardball, because they're basically, the numbers don't lie. So you get somebody that comes in that this is what he does. He comes in, rabble rouses, and he negotiates, and he comes hard. He doesn't live in Winthrop. He doesn't work in Winthrop. He doesn't know anybody he's dealing with.
Nothing about us.
Yeah. So he's going to come in and swing the big baseball bat and, badmouth the school committee and blah, blah, blah. But in the end, they can ask for all they want. They can ask for, 100,000 a year. Sure, you can ask, but in reality, you're not going to get it.
And therein lies the rub, because what is deserved? Okay, so I have an opinion. Leo Haskell says, give them threes. You're out of your mind, Leo. First of all, I'm going to say this. For what happened last year.
You almost got me.
Sorry. I love Leo, but he's out of his mind. For the last 2 years, you had the activist school committee, teachers we have. Kristen Reynolds, everybody on that board, all the active people in the Winthrop Teachers Association, the Bill Schmitz, vehemently supporting policies that kept kids out of school. You had and then you had the entire membership writing checks to their dues to this teachers union. You have to remember, teachers that might be on the fence about this stuff, your dues money goes to places you most likely don't want it to go to. These raises take every available dime out of almost every school budget in the district. There's very little left over to bring back more programs. Look, if you don't believe this is true, look up Wellesley's. Wellesley does why should a city like Wellesley ever do a fundraiser? Or, okay, fine, do a fundraiser. Or Lexington. Why should they ever charge a user fee? Why?
A user fee for what?
For sports or for any activity. Why should they do it? These are loaded communities. It's because no matter how much money you put in the budget, and the MTA and the local gets together and they go whomp, and they're grabbing at it. And the marginal districts like Winthrop, who survive on the majority of property taxes and grants and state aid, we suffer. We have no commercial tax base. And so we're on the hamster wheel of, again, I'll go back to, we used to have Italian, French, Spanish, shop. We've decimated. We've never brought anything meaningful back in any way. We are so far off of what we used to offer that it's, and some of it made sense and some of it doesn't.
Todd, a lot of these teachers are, well, that was then.
Right.
That was then.
Well, maybe we want to go
This
back
is now.
to then. Because it's funny. In talking to some of the older teachers that have been long since retired, their viewpoint on all this is What's the issue? It's a great gig. You know you're not going to get rich going into this thing. So why are you arguing with it? You kind of make yourself look silly when you get upset about a 0.5% or 1% raise. That's basically like not even in this day and age, not even a tank of gas to you, but to the kids, especially poor kids. There is no denying that the lack of funding, and it's not because the taxpayers don't want to give more. It's because no matter how much you give, it never makes its way into new programs, improved. Look at the schools in Chicago, the inner cities of Chicago.
That's apples and oranges.
Well, I agree, but think about the point. No, but the point sticks because it's a heavy union area.
Yep.
And all the money goes into the teachers and the buildings. These buildings, they've been crying poor mouth about the buildings for years, and yet they won't accept even a reasonable raise. It has to be these 3s and 4s. They should get 0s. Getting back to local, I'm sorry for the people I know and love that I've talked to about this that teach in our school. You were silent. You wrote checks, 0. The kids were locked out of school. There's been damage done that nobody's talking about. The suicide ideations, the depression, the loss of learning, the reading, the younger ones way behind, the social and emotional stuff. No one's talking about it because it's too
And they
ugly.
won't, because they were told, the people pushing that agenda were told to push that agenda. They don't think, they just do. They do as they're told. They follow the game plan. And it starts from all the way in Washington. It goes all the way down. And I'll bet you 99% of those people in Winthrop that were pushing to keep the kids out and wear masks were left of center.
No doubt. No doubt.
So what does that tell you? They don't care. They just do. They don't think. And I don't care what you say right now. Oh, I can't believe he just said that. Think about what you're doing. Think about what you did and admit what you did was wrong.
Yeah, ask questions. Maybe for once.
They just have to look back and say, I was wrong.
Well, I agree with you, but I'll try to be even more of an olive branch. Like these are the things. So kind of dirty little secret here. I've been having some conversations offline with Julia Wallers. And one of the things we kind of talk about it's more just like texts, or not text, but Facebook private message back and forth. And one of the things we talk about is we should always try to understand each other before we make an opinion, right? So try to understand where this is coming from and try to understand that this might be real. And as parents, you might was the punch in the face that your kids, you had no control over your kids going back to school. That wasn't enough. And then the layer on top of it. Okay. I'll say it again. A teacher was clearly, a teacher in Winthrop, if they want to, can have a conversation right now as the law reads. They can have a conversation about puberty blockers, sexual orientation at any level in the school district, because we don't have a Florida law.
It's Massachusetts.
That's right. So why is this relevant? I'm getting a little off track, but I'm trying to paint the picture. This is all tied together. You have an element in the union ranks. The teachers, you have to separate yourselves. And I mean teachers. I mean the ones that get up every day, that go home at night and actually do a lesson plan, or at least if it's not a lesson plan, at least think about how they can improve their craft. Listen, the ones like the president of the current president of the teachers union are in this for the wrong reasons. Okay. I don't know what her heartfelt motivations are, but if she's this much of a union person that she knows what they're asking for is wrong and she sits quietly by, she's a resident of this town for life. She pays property taxes. She sees the problems our budget has, and she sits quietly by in those negotiations while this guy from out of nowhere, it's theatrics. They've got what they can bring in. They're called silent partners or silent negotiators. You're allowed, they negotiated during the rules, the ground rules, that they could have silent partners. They got these people walking in, sitting down, saying nothing, getting up, walking out when they hear something bad. I mean, it's like a circus. What is that? What is that?
Unions, when they negotiate, there's two main things that they are all about, and it's all about this: benefits and money. Those are their two major negotiating points. Always, any union you go into,
Okay.
benefits and money. That's
Benefits.
and all the teachers, all the CBP officers wanted money. We want more money, but you know what? Even we had a budget, and
So I
and
neglected.
we're a big organization.
Yeah. So I neglected to give that remind that the viewers of this particular part of that discussion, which is the budget. The bottom line is this. Number one, forget about actual contractual raises. Okay. First of all, the teachers were demonstrating, by the way. They were standing outside of the negotiations and demonstrating to demand new wages. Why are and by the wearing their shirts and pins in school?
Which is their right, which is as long as they're not doing it on duty.
Not in school. They were doing it in school. Kids are asking they do it purposefully so the kids ask questions. Right? They want
then the superintendent, that's the superintendent's fault for letting that happen.
Well, right. They shouldn't do it either. They know better. They know
if they can get away with it, they'll do it.
Okay, but again, are you a teacher or are you a union stooge? Because right now you're a union stooge if you do that, right?
They don't think of it that way.
Well, but they are. It doesn't matter how they think of it.
And if they're using children, I mean, if they're using kids, technically they're weaponizing kids.
That's right.
For their agenda.
The kids are going
home.
I'm
not surprised. I'm not surprised.
Somebody went home, okay? A child went home and asked their parents a question about what is going on at our schools, is like details about the negotiation that they shouldn't have known.
So let me kind of stop right here.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to unions, it's not political. It is not political because you have conservatives and liberals together that all want a pay raise. It's not political. It's not the left against the right. Now, the unions support left agendas, but when it comes to negotiations, there are conservative teachers, probably to a person, that are like, yeah, I'd like to get a raise too. It's really not a political issue. Just like, and I don't want to go down a rabbit hole with this, abortion is not a political issue. There are conservatives and there are liberals that both are pro and anti. It doesn't matter. These issues are not political. Do not, and I'm not saying this to you, I'm saying as a whole, take a step back and look at it. And don't point fingers in a political direction because it's really not. I stood next to guys that were liberal that wanted a pay raise. You know, I mean, I didn't stand next to them in a picket line.
Okay, hold on. I'm confused. I'm not confused anymore. You're talking about the union membership. Okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and the unions have notoriously supported Democrat agendas because Democrats are the ones who pander to them because there's a lot of votes there. I had a friend that doesn't even like Michelle Wu, doesn't even live in the city of Boston, but his union said, you have to go out and stand on the corner for 2 hours with a Michelle Wu sign. Now but this is not political in a sense. Now she's going to do them favors. It's all a behind the scenes thing.
Well, that's right.
It's all about money. It's all about money.
Well, that's right. So let's get back to your not political comment. So again, for the membership, especially with the teachers guy, most of these teachers don't even really know what's going on. They don't get involved. They don't care.
They don't get involved. You're right.
They don't get involved at all. They don't realize that their leadership, they don't know that their leadership is doing really crappy things. And make no mistake, for the state, the MTA, and the federal unions, it's all they want access. And they want their access to Democrats because the Democrats support unions more than the Republicans. The Republicans passed the Janus bill. You can get out of the union dues, guys. I would strongly encourage you, if you care about children even a little, we can break our local union. Just stop paying your dues. Just stop paying dues. And
so let me ask you this, devil's advocate again.
Of course.
You said we can help the children if you stop paying your union dues and get out of the union. How is that going to help the kids? Great
question. So first and foremost, we can negotiate. First of all, we can get out of some of these steps and lanes, okay? The town of Winthrop, before we even talk about a raise, we are on the hook for mixed reports here. Let's just call it a draw at $500,000 of new money we need before we even talk about a raise. Okay. Now, $500,000 for steps and lanes. You know how much new money the schools get next year? $900,000. So they're already $400,000. And we haven't talked about bringing back a teacher, adding Spanish, music, nada. And that will be the way we negotiate every 3 years. That's how it works. Because there's never enough. Why should steps and lanes was invented? In my opinion, it was a scheme, but it's a money-making scheme. The idea was if you stay longer and you get more levels of education, you become a better teacher. I think we can all agree that really hasn't shown us to have a school district that's
an individual's choice to be a better teacher.
Exactly, right? So it is not you can't, because
I worked with some pretty bad officers that got step promotions every year and every 2 years. And so they were slugs.
And I haven't found this out yet, by the way. I want to get some numbers on this, but we've talked about this before, the sick time buyback thing. Okay. Yeah.
Fire department.
Yeah. Well, now we're at the schools because all the employees get it. It's in their contracts. If you don't use it, you get paid $22 on a day that you might make $200. And we're supposed to, as taxpayers, accept that as a savings. Otherwise, we'd use it. Okay. So you'd fraud being sick, right? Like, why are we, first of all, you'd fraud being sick, but never mind the fact that we're accruing sick days. Sick days are not vacation. They're not use it or lose it. So we should have never agreed to a deal like that, because at the end of their term, at the end of their work life, we cut them a check. And sometimes it's a few, couple, $3,000, $4,000 for the individual.
What is fraud? Your sick leave. What is that?
Well, fraud is sick time is when you're sick. Okay. Yeah. So if you're telling me that if I put a use it or lose it, if you put a use it or lose it policy, I'm just going to use it. You're basically admitting that you're going to use it whether you're sick or not. That's fraud.
Because you don't want to lose it.
Exactly.
So, I mean, that's unions across the country. That's in my, plus they don't want people accruing all that extra leave because they're going to say they accrue it over 3 years. Well, I'm going to take leave anytime I want. And you'll have 1 year, but this guy might work 4 months.
Well, but everything that's true, but everything you're talking about is all about more time off. I mean, the entity that's paying you has no ability to be creative because they're boxed in.
But what you're getting out of that teacher is they don't call in sick.
No. But again,
they're not using their sick leave, so they're not. They're there.
Call in sick. If you get 30 sick days a year, okay, and you're sick too, and you might lose them, so at the end of the year you start taking them because you're afraid to lose them, you're not sick. We should not be. Nobody's sick more than 5 days a year for
you're
work.
Saying you're going to get 30 days, just a number. You get 14 sick days a year. If you don't use them, well, thank you. We're going to move on. You get nothing.
Yeah, you get nothing. They're sick days. Yeah. That's what sick days were. Why are we cutting checks for people at the end of the year for sick days they accrued dozen years ago?
You do know that statistics show that sick days are used by more people that aren't sick than are sick.
Right, but people are frauding them.
That's what my sick days are for. So I don't want to go into work today.
Right.
But they're not really sick.
I don't understand why people do that. I'm not that person, but fine. That's why they should be limited, because we know it's abuse. It's human behavior. So it's kind of like the Reagan trust but verify. Listen, and by the way, I don't give a fuck pardon my French. I don't I don't give a crap what they do across the country. This is Winthrop. We can't afford that.
But unions follow suit.
And they shouldn't, because what works in Tennessee doesn't work in Massachusetts.
But you ask and you might get.
Yeah, well, whatever.
What they're asking for, you shouldn't. I mean, it's up to those three negotiators to say no, yes, no, yes, no, right? They're going to ask. And in these things that have been built in to their contracts, once it's in, it's pretty hard to get it out.
Oh, it costs you a fortune to get it out.
Yeah, so that's like a moot point. It is what it is. It's there.
Well, I don't buy that.
Why?
Because if you are committed to your craft, if you're that person that's a public service given that cares about the future of our country, for Christ's sakes, because this is the civil rights issue of our time. The black community are the most harmed from this. That's it. That's a fact. They commit the most crimes because they're the least educated, and the white people are doing it to them. If you want to talk about systematic racism, Democrats don't want to talk about school choice, charter schools, doing something about having everybody living in public housing in one area that's just surrounded by gunshots and drugs. Right? Anyway, we're getting off on a tangent because it's
not who's we. who's we? I'm not.
It's me.
That was you, buddy. You let it go, buddy. You let it fly, my friend.
Well, it's because it's kids, and I can't help it. I get passionate about it, but
and I think you get a lot of respect for that. You do. I mean, I've talked to people that said, yeah, he does. You know, he's passionate. He cares. So no one expects anything less from you, Todd. I wouldn't say so. You know? Feel better. You got any water with you? Have any water?
I got my little shine jug.
Take a nice little sip.
Can we call timeout? Can we go to commercial break? Does that happen?
I can play some music.
What was I even talking about? Now I've lost my train of thought.
So we were talking about the condos. So they're in what? An almost $700,000 deficit?
That's what it said in the paper, like 5, 6 something or something like that.
Yeah. And they got an additional, so the council allocated $55,000, an additional $55,000 to the school department to help bridge the deficit of the $700,000. It's not even 10%. What's that? 7% or something? Not even, maybe. Not even.
I mean,
well, you know, it's up to the negotiators. Again, I can't fault them for asking and asking and asking.
Nope.
It's up to those three to say no. And we don't have it, by the way. We don't have that money. So you can sit here all you want, negotiate and slam the table and, you know, threaten and say, we don't have the money. It's just not there.
You know what I would suggest we do too is say, fine. Like let's say they're asking, let's say they wanted a 444. Let's say that was what they wanted. First of all, that's going to cost us in the first year. So if a 1.5 is about $150, a 4 is what? 400 and something thousand a year. So we're 500 for the steps and lanes, 450 for the 4. And that's 9 something. So we're only getting 900 new. So, okay, how do we replenish maintenance? How do we bring back Spanish, more Spanish? This, you know what I mean? Like that's how close it is. But if we get a 444, I mean, I'm sorry.
Explain to the viewers what 444 is.
So they'd get 4% for the next contract year, then 4% the following, then 4% the third. 4% added to their money every year for 3 years.
And then after that?
They renegotiate.
They renegotiate it.
You know, in all honesty, what I would like to see us do, I would say give it to them, but your steps and lanes are gone, sick time buyback gone. I mean, just start taking stuff out. And by the way, you're paying 15% for your benefits. That is unheard of. 15%.
The teachers?
Yeah.
No wonder they want more money.
The whole town pays 15%. Everybody else is paying in Massachusetts paying 25, 30. Yeah. Lexington pays 40.
40.
Yeah. Well, they make a ton of money up there. A ton.
Damn.
I mean, look, if
40% for your benefits? Yikes. Hey, listen, that's their thing.
Well, no, it in the end, you talk about not like you can't help it.
But how's the benefit package in Winthrop as compared to the benefit package? And do you get what you pay for? Is it a product of that? You get what you pay for?
You get opinions that say otherwise. But I'll tell you what, I was on my wife's plan. My wife's a secretary, so I can speak intelligently to some of this. I'm on a better plan with my gig, and it's cheaper. The GIC is screwing the Commonwealth. That someone's making money on the back end, because how does my company, who we're about 1,000 employees now, how do we get a better, like a almost 30% better savings on my premium? And I got more coverage. I mean, it's just overall, yeah. I'm way ahead right now. So teachers should be PO'd, because nobody has the ability to be creative with our negotiations because of collective bargaining. We can't We can't do
Yeah.
things that we want to do. And, it's a huge blocker. And everybody, everybody tells me it's not possible to, you got family members in the union, this, that, and the other thing. Look, I don't, how's this? I don't care if you bust it, but get out of the, just be there for legal help, because the tactics that are being employed, all for the gain of power, off the teachers' backs, off the kids' backs. The kids get effed every single time. Our school district is very different than it was, in a bad way from the past, in some good ways too. But, I've said it before. We want more. We want to offer the kids more. We want to offer them stuff that can enrich their lives. And we want our programs. We have so many unfunded mandates. The Obama money. You don't hear a lot of talk anymore about, what was that math, that Common Core math. I'm not sure if they're still doing it, but regardless, when the money ended, we were required to fund it ourselves out of the school's budget. And it's no getting ahead. You cannot be a community-based school if you have a teachers union in it. You can't do it.
How long do the negotiations last?
Well, if these guys, I'm hearing that
is there a time limit on the negotiation?
No, we'll go to arbitration, and then they'll sit before a board, mostly made up of, you guessed it, union sympathizers, former union teachers, etc. The real strident kind of, fist raising ones that are going to side with the union, that are not going to.
And where's Winthrop going to get the money?
We make cuts.
Yeah. So then the teachers complain that there's cuts and we don't have enough resources.
Classrooms get too big. I don't get. Of course, it's a no win.
So they're going to let them cut their nose off to spite their face. You know what? Well, kids will move on. Kids are resilient. There's kids that were average kids that went to college and wanted to be very successful. There's average kids that got an average education in Winthrop that went on to be successful, like myself. I didn't get an extremely great education out of the Winthrop school system. But, I hate to leave it to that, but ultimately that's what it's going to be.
I don't disagree with you on that front, Scott, but what the thing we haven't talked about that you're not thinking about is the fact that whether or not it was orchestrated, I think there were plenty of people in the ranks who thought keeping the kids out of school, keeping the economy shut down will help get Trump out of office. I'm pretty sure that was part of the equation.
I want to say that there was a good percentage of teachers that liked teaching from home, so they didn't have to spend gas money. They didn't have to put on their clothes, get all dressed up, go in and sit in the classroom. They could do it from the luxury of their own home. It was all chaotic at first, but then once the dust settled, I think there's just like any worker, just like any that's why Elon Musk is like, no, you coming back to work. I want 40 hours out of you in office, right? Because even he knows that's a scam.
Oh, I think among the rank and file.
My stepdaughter had a teacher that was teaching a class and she was shopping.
Yes.
She was at the supermarket on her cell phone.
My neighbor's fourth grade teacher would put them in front of movies and leave the house. So
that's why. I mean, that's a huge reason.
The rank
you
and
roll
file,
out of bed and you go into the kitchen.
Scott, the rank and file, I agree with you. But the people at the Massachusetts state level and the federal level, right? The state and federal level are the ones that know this is about power, and they love their access to the White House.
It was a distraction. That's just another distraction.
It was that they were in on it. The Randy Weingartens, she influenced.
Oh, that's what I mean. It created a distraction also.
Yeah.
And that got politicized.
That's it. That's exactly how it happened. So to me, if you're one of the useful idiots who's just writing a union check and you don't really know what's going on, and I don't mean you're an idiot, look up the term. It's associated with a Marxist movement. This isn't the sky is falling. The Marxists are in our schools.
If there's 100 teachers, I'm sorry, if there's 100 teachers, I would probably think maybe 60 of them don't want anything to do with it. They're like, I just want to teach my class.
Yep.
I just want to teach my class. Yeah, I'd like to get a raise. What's going on? Okay, I'm going to go back to teaching my class.
Cancel your union dues, you'll get a raise.
Yeah, but then they have to listen to their coworkers that are pro-union.
Bully. Oh,
they do bully because I was already told that there was a teacher in the middle school that was bullying another teacher.
I know.
Over Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Over Christmas. So it does happen. I mean, I
take
do
those
hear
guys
things.
down? Should we, are they on the anti-bullying squad? I'm sure some of them are.
They're not, because they're hypocrites. They don't care. But so a lot of teachers are just like, all right, whatever. I got to go home. I got to do this. I got to do that. I have my own kids. I got to grade papers. I got to da. I mean, they're like, whatever. And then they it's just like the bad cop. One bad cop gives all the bad cops, the cops a bad name.
Of course.
And I feel bad for those teachers. I have friends that are teachers. I have friends whose wives are teachers,
family,
husbands are teachers. And they're like, that's not what we do.
That's right.
Like I do this. And they always speak individually.
Then
I do this. I do this. Oh, my wife does this.
Speak up.
So they don't really get involved. Speak
up, save the kids.
Yeah. So let's move on to a lighter subject.
Let's go. Let's do
it. I noticed that and Jack Dowd, who I give a lot of credit to, would go to the town council meetings and talk about greenery in Winthrop, in the trees. Got to take care of the trees. And people would be like, I watched one of the town council meetings, and he stood up and he was talking about the trees. And I don't know how much attention he was getting, but well, the town council established a tree committee tasked with protecting Winthrop's trees. People listen. Don't ever look. And I thought he was extremely interesting. I wanted to have him on the show, but he's like, I don't know that guy, so I don't want to talk to him. And I'm like on his side, right?
Yeah.
He's an older guy, but I respect like an issue that really nobody talks about, But this guy was adamant about keeping Winthrop's trees. So now they get, a council, they get tree ordinances. That you can't just rip up trees anymore. There has to be.
You remember the kerfuffle about down the center when they was cutting down the trees? When they were cutting down the trees?
Yeah,
you should. There's at least 2 times more trees now down there than there was. I mean, it does look really good, and when they grow in a little bit, it's going to look nice.
That's going to be a nice space. Very disruptive, extremely disruptive, as a matter of fact.
It is.
But in the end. I'm sure their forethought was people adapt. People will adapt. People initially panic. It's human nature to look at doom and gloom because this is the thing I've known for 30, 40, 50 years. And look I was part of that. I grew up down there, and I was like, what are they doing in my town?
Yep.
But you take a step back and you're like, you know what? In the end, it's going to be a nice spot. A little inconvenient, but people adjust. Right? And then you're going to go down there one night. You're going to be like, this is fucking, and at Christmas, they do a nice job down there at Christmas.
Oh,
it could be a great spot.
You just picked on us. Well, you heard about the way by the CVS, the way they squeeze down the entrance to the center, right? Across from the rink.
I did hear about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Santa truck, they can't make the swing.
No, I'm saying if they decorate down,
they'll do the
business district, and
but they used to bring Santa Claus down the street.
Yeah, and let them call it a holiday tree. I don't give a shit. Whatever. Everyone knows it's a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
I don't care what they call it. That's a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
You're not changing my mind. Guess what? You're not changing my kid's mind either.
Nope. Do you? You do you.
But I'm glad they did that. And we still have to we still haven't even scratched the surface of the airport committee and what's going on with the airport in Winthrop. We really got to start. I mean, that is something
digging
into it and find out what's going on because again, and I also saw that this is going to be an epic disaster with the tunnel being shut down.
Oh my God.
I've gotten calls during conversation with friends back. And I got friends in East Boston and they're like, you have no idea.
I want to get a helicopter so I can get out of here.
Yeah. And guess what East Boston's really leaning toward? The ferry.
Oh yeah.
They use the ferry. And how does it work in East Boston? But it doesn't.
Well, we're now Lydia
There's
Edwards.
an access to Winthrop problem too.
Lydia Edwards, I think, working with Jeff. We're going to have another year anyway here. The T's they're working to get the T to take it over to make it part of the rapid transit system.
But then there's going to be the issue that we discussed before of parking.
Yeah, I don't know how it's going to work because that is not a public parking lot down there. So are they going to get shuttles for people? Is it going to make enough people? Is it going to take enough cars off the road? I don't know.
Yeah.
Add on.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if it will, but let me see. Somebody, are you on? Let me pull this up. Hold on. I just thought this was interesting. This comment right here. Look at see what we're doing, buddy. See what we're doing. This was earlier. That's Anthony Kovachev.
Oh, Kovacev.
Yeah,
Anthony
doing a live stream. He finally did a live. It's called a live stream.
Yes. So Anthony is a great story because he's a kid I knew from first grade. We had the same teacher in first grade, Mrs. Underhill. She used to have the reading tub. It was a ceramic, clawfoot tub in the room, and she was so mean to Anthony. And anyway, she basically embarrassed him in front of the class at the end of the year, and I never forgot him. And I always knew who he was, and then he disappeared. Anyway, we bumped into each other. I just had him put a new back door in for me.
Nice.
Yeah, good guy.
What's his live stream? What did he do a live stream on? Do you know?
No, he said he joined one of these. He's never joined one before.
Oh, made a live show.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he did a live stream. I'm like, look at that. Yeah.
Right.
Well,
hey,
thanks for watching, man.
Anthony, there you go, buddy. You can do live streams. Pick it up. New hobby.
I don't know. We're still the only Facebook group that does one.
That's right.
You know why? Todd? Because we want to give everybody access to us.
That's right. We want you to see, hear, and learn from what we might have.
Come on in and watch and listen and participate and call and message in. You know, we don't hide anything.
Nope.
And I think we're doing a good job. Our page has not turned into a trash can yet.
Not yet. It's teetered.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're doing a great job because like I said earlier, we get a lot of good feedback about the Bob D. Felice interview. They like the doing the local business stuff. The politics is helpful. It's information. We give real information, and we try not to censor anybody. Sometimes I have to put the hammer down. Just sometimes I have to for a minute, cool them off.
Yeah. But we haven't censored anybody.
No,
anybody can come on.
Welcome back.
Our reputation precedes us, though, evidently, according to Coach.
Yes, yeah.
He was told, you don't want to go on that show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He said they killed me. Whoever it was, they killed me.
Yeah. Like he hasn't handled kids like he did handle us.
I mean,
what are we going to do to him?
Right.
Let's see.
Oh, that's funny.
There we go. Maureen Davis says, if they remove the umbrella and tables and the new trees, it would make a great helicopter launch pad in the center. Yeah, to get to Boston.
That's right.
Get to work.
Quick, get your helicopter license. You can start charging a premium.
Yeah. Too bad they didn't have personal drones now. Well, they do have them. They're in actually.
Wait, someone can fly themselves in a drone?
Yeah, I saw it.
No way. You got to be
kidding
me. That scares me.
Yeah.
That's got to be a big ass drone.
It has a lot of propellers.
Okay.
Yeah, it has a lot of propellers. But
that's
pretty cool looking.
That's
and I guess I got this too, the trash updates as far as black plastics cannot be recycled. It must be put in the trash.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So can someone explain?
I guess my bottle would have to get thrown away in the trash.
Oh, I got something.
Yeah.
Tomorrow night might be a good night for people to watch the town meeting. You're going to like this one, Scott. Apparently, there's a decent number of folks miffed that there's no pride flag flying for June. So they're going to express their disappointment, I guess, tomorrow night.
And it's their right to. Their right to.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, I think.
And I'm sure we'll be mentioned.
Yeah. Well, we'll probably be there live streaming it if at all possible.
Oh, that would be that would be great if you could.
Yeah.
So I'm flying into Boston on Thursday for the party on Saturday night at the Elks.
Yep.
come on down,
Yep.
have some fun. There's going to be a DJ. Just bring anybody you want. We don't have to know everybody. If you have a group of friends, you want to come out, drink and dance, and it should be a nice night and meet some old friends and maybe make some new ones. That's why we do this. We don't make any money. So come on down to the Elks Saturday night from 7 to 11, the Winthrop Town Party. It's always fun. Always fun. So there's the invitation.
Hey, so Wendy writes, the recycling scanners cannot see, in quotes, the dark plastic.
Yeah, the dark plastics, yeah.
Okay, so I want to comment on that because, okay, that's just another layer of complication. I know people are going to get mad at me because I won't take the extra effort to wash, separate, stack, press, fold, and turn and varnish my trash so you can take it and use it again. But we have technology that can recharge a phone without plugging it into a wall. We have technology that can, surgical technology. I don't remember the name of it, but I can tell you my neurosurgeon brother-in-law did surgery on a young woman who had a broken back. She was walking out of the hospital the next day. And you're telling me we can't wash take dirty recyclables and black recyclables and figure it out? You want to put it back on us? It's never going to change if you cannot make it brainless for the general American public. You're not going to get people buying the compost bins and dragging those out. They're not going to compost in their backyard, and they're not going to wash their trash in any meaningful numbers. So the recycling yards are going to remain full of unrecycled, what is trash, unburied trash.
Plus, how many barrels do you have now?
Well, I have like 6, but I'm only allowed to put 1 out.
You put 1 out plus a recycle barrel.
Yep.
And now you're going to get a textile bin. You're going to get a textile bin.
Yeah.
Because
this is going to end.
So you're going to have 3 bins on the side of your house or in your backyard or on your back porch.
I've always said we should do better, right? But look, how many
bins?
I mean, honestly, do we really think we can influence the Mother Nature this way? The sun has more nuclear bombs going off in it than we could imagine. Like, who do we think we are?
Well, we won't know unless we try, Tom.
Oh, I mean, we should always try to be. I'm not against being clean, but this is ridiculous.
And if they didn't do anything, then it would be. I guess the thought process is if we don't do anything, we're going to continue to do what we've been doing. And I've said this for a long time. Human beings are a cancer to this planet. We're a cancer, a living, breathing cancer across the planet. This planet would be a beautiful thing if people didn't live on it, but we do, and we like our creature comforts, and we have human nature, and unfortunately, we do hurt. I'm not getting into the whole a global warming thing, but we do hurt the planet.
Of course.
It sustains us, but listen. And then you could be of the mindset, well, I'm anyway, so what the hell do I care?
Population control.
I'm going to be dead in 30 years. What does it matter?
If you want to really do anything, population control is the only way, and that's never going to happen. I mean, for whatever, if you're karmic, religious, Buddhist, Papist, whatever you are, if you believe in something, that whatever that reason was to put us here, we're here. Deal with it.
All right, Wendy, she corrected me, and I'm glad that that's the case.
Yep.
Has house they're not, and then she gives us a great update. So households are not getting them. They will be located at the Landing, Walden Street Basketball Court, and the DPW yard, where they get gas without receipts, and all the gas comes out to an even number. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
We didn't even touch on that. That budget was $100,000. How the hell do you come up with a perfect amount of gas equals out to $100,000?
I think that was the allocation, wasn't it? We don't
know how much they spent.
No, we didn't see the spend amount. We didn't see the spend amount. We
still need our man Kurt to get on that.
Yeah,
he's a digger, man.
He is a digger. He's a backhoe.
He gets in and grinds. Yeah, he's like a mole.
Yeah.
He just keeps going. But that is a good question, man.
It is
the gas
question. Yep.
It's a very under the radar thing.
Here's something, by the way. I don't want to know what you think of this. So there's going to be a tree planting ceremony for.
Yes.
Okay, my understanding is it's going to be tied into a Juneteenth celebration as well.
I didn't hear that. I didn't
That's-
hear that. I heard
I've
that
heard-
there's going to be, you know, politicians there. You're gonna have different groups from Winthrop there. I would hope that this isn't exploited for
Right, it should be about the
for another cause. I think
Right.
be professional, be right,
Yep.
do the dedication, but do not cross over and make it something else. This needs to be the sole fucking focus. Sorry for swearing, but that's the only way I can put it. There should be
Right.
nothing in there. No pandering, no trying to rub off and cross a line and go over it. Well, now we can talk about this. This is it.
Yep.
You know, there was a kid that grew up in Winthrop, and maybe I'll blow my own horn for a second. His name was Perry Palladino.
Oh, I remember Perry.
Perry was like he lived up the Highlands. He was around us, the Ignos, for all of it. We protected him. He was ours. He was our friend. He was our guy, right? So when he passed away, and he lived well beyond the time he was supposed to, and Perry suffered from severe Down syndrome, and so someone reached out to me, said you can do this. So we want a bench for him up the Highlands. So I put it together. I did a GoFundMe and I raised the money in like a day and a half. It's like $6,000 to get him up. But the bench wasn't ready yet, right? And the bench is right up there in the Highlands, right next. It's where the park is,
Where the playground is.
Playground, yeah.
Yep.
We had a plaque put on and everything. So the bench wasn't ready, so we did a tree planting over where what is it? Crest Ave runs into Revere Street. You know, there's that kind of weird thing that you can take a right and go up into the Highlands.
Yep.
In that park right there,
Yep.
we did a tree planting, and that's all it was for. That's it.
That's it.
People talked, you know, and that was it. That's what this should be.
Yes.
There should be nothing. Diversity, equity, and community relations sponsored by nothing.
Nope.
Be human.
It's for those two people. That's it.
Be human. Give them some dignity. Do not attach anything to that.
No.
Because that would be a travesty. That would be a total travesty. Do not attach anything to this. If you're a Winthrop person, if you're involved in this, if you're watching, or if you do not attach anything to this. Keep
Wendy.
it classy. Keep it straight.
Wendy, if you're still watching, do you know the date, Wendy? The date
It's
of this?
the 20. It's the 26th, Sunday the 26th.
Okay.
I actually might go down there. I'll be in town.
Yeah.
It's at 9 in the morning, I think.
On Sunday. Okay.
Yeah.
Winthrop Votes is going to try to be there in full force.
Yeah, I mean, people should be there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, but they better not attach something to this.
Oh my God, that'll be bad.
Oh, I will rail on that every episode.
Mm-hmm.
Every episode. What do we got here? He also tried to strangle one of my daughters in the school. What? I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
26th, 9 p.m. Yeah, the corner of Shirley and Veterans. Yeah. Yeah. So,
Nice. Very nice.
All right.
Wow. An hour and 13 minutes.
Yeah. Episode 44. We're still here.
44. We're almost at 45.
Coming up at 50.
50's coming.
Coming up on 50.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Nope.
Yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching.
Yeah, that's right. And but I hope, what do I always say? Politics starts at the local level. I hope I made a case at how strong, how much better we would all be if we'd focus more locally and pay attention to what's happening to your own budgets.
Yeah, pay attention to that school committee negotiation.
Yeah.
It is important.
Very, very important. And
I'm going to say it before Todd takes it from me. Thank you for watching. You guys are the engine that runs this machine. Without you, it'd be me, Todd just talking, and well, that doesn't always go well. So we appreciate your time. We truly do.
Should mute my mic.
What's that?
I should mute my mic.
All right, and we thank the people for participating, for commenting in.
Yeah, please. And share. We want more people joining. Talk about the share the invitation on Winthrop votes to the party. Don't have to be from Winthrop, by the way. You know, we're going to be talking about some
Anybody.
of the businesses. Hopefully you'll visit some of our local businesses, some great coffee shops. Baraka Juice is a great place to get a Kai bowl. Katie's Kitchen. So yeah, we'll talk more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll start on that next episode.
Yep.
Even if they don't come on, we can mention them.
Yeah. We got to get them some business.
All right.
All right, kids.
Let's see. Well, next Monday, I don't know. I'm flying back from Boston on Monday, so we might not be. It might not be a show next Monday.
We'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Handle it yourself, buddy.
Yeah. Well, I don't have the equipment, but we'll talk about it.
All right. We'll talk soon. All right, guys.